Hi, I'm Jamie, and welcome to this special edition of What's Happening in Space, where we have a look at the Australian space company Southern Launch. One of the most fascinating success stories in Australia's growing space industry right now is the rise of Southern Launch, an Adelaide-based aerospace company helping transform South Australia into a global hub for rocket launches and spacecraft re-entries. Founded in 2017 by aerospace entrepreneur and former defence scientist Lloyd Damp, Southern Launch was created with a bold ambition to build Australia's modern commercial launch capability from the ground up, and almost no ability to support routine spacecraft returns from orbit. Despite starting as a relatively small company with only around 20 employees, Southern Launch has quickly become one of the country's most important space companies. The company now operates two major facilities in South Australia. One is the Coniba Test Range near Ceduna, which has become internationally recognised for suborbital launches and spacecraft recovery missions. The other is the Whalers Way Orbital Launch Complex near Port Lincoln, where Southern Launch hopes one day to support full orbital rocket launches directly from Australian soil. Unlike companies such as SpaceX or Rocket Lab, Southern Launch is not currently building its own rockets. Instead, the company acts as a launch service provider and spaceport operator, partnering with international rocket companies that want to launch or recover spacecraft from Australia. That strategy has already attracted several international partners. Southern Launch has worked closely with German rocket company High Impulse, which successfully launched its SR-75 suborbital rocket from the Coniba test range on May 3, 2024. The mission became one of the largest commercial rocket launches ever conducted in Australia and was viewed as a major milestone for the company's private space sector. The company has also partnered with South Korean rocket manufacturer Innospace, which plans to conduct future missions from Australian launch facilities beginning as early as 2026. Southern Launch says these partnerships are part of a larger plan to make Australia an international launch destination for overseas aerospace companies. At Whalers Way, Southern Launch is developing infrastructure capable of supporting orbital launches into polar and non-synchronous orbits, trajectories highly valued by Earth observation and satellite companies. The site has now received major regulatory approvals, and Southern Launch has slated the facility could eventually support up to 42 launches per year once fully operational. The company believes Australia has unique advantages for the future space industry, including enormous remote recovery zones, low air traffic, vast open skies, and launch paths over the Southern Ocean that avoid heavily populated areas. Southern Launch says its long-term goal is to help establish Australia as a major player in commercial rocket launches, spacecraft recovery, hypersonic testing, and orbital manufacturing, as well as satellite deployment and advanced aerospace research. That vision started becoming reality in 2024 when Coniba hosted Australia's first ever commercial spacecraft return from orbit. The mission involved Varda Space Industries' W2 capsule, which re-entered Earth's atmosphere and landed safely in the South Australian outback after completing an orbital mission focused on pharmaceutical manufacturing and re-entry technology testing. That successful recovery was followed by the W3 mission on May 14, 2025, when another Varda capsule returned safely to Coniba after launching aboard a SpaceX transporter mission. The W3 spacecraft carried advanced hypersonic research payloads and became another major success for the partnership between Varda and Southern Launch. Then came the W4 mission in June 2025, which was particularly important because it used a newly developed Varda spacecraft platform for the first time, representing another major step towards routine commercial manufacturing missions in orbit. Now Southern Launch has supported yet another milestone. This week, the company successfully managed to return the Varda Space Industries W6 capsule to the Coniba test range, making the fourth orbital spacecraft re-entry to occur at the site in just over 12 months. The W6 spacecraft launched aboard a recent SpaceX rideshare mission before spending several weeks in orbit conducting experiments focused on hypersonic flight systems and advanced heat shield technologies. During re-entry, the capsule slammed into the Earth's atmosphere at roughly Mach 25, generating extreme temperatures as it streaked across the skies of southern Australia like a blazing fireball before descending under parachute into the remote desert recovery zone. The mission carried several important experiments from NASA and United States government partners. One section of the capsule's heat shield contained embedded e-chart tiles designed to gather valuable performance data during the intense heat of atmospheric re-entry. Another onboard system tested autonomous spacecraft navigation technology capable of determining position using stars and celestial objects instead of relying entirely on GPS systems. Southern Launch managed the entire recovery operation, overseeing everything from regulatory approvals and range safety to aerospace coordination, tracking operations and recovery of the capsule after landing. CEO Lloyd Damp described the fourth successful re-entry as another major step towards making orbital spacecraft returns a routine commercial operation rather than a rare experimental event. The broader goal behind the VARTA missions is the development of a future space-based manufacturing industry where pharmaceuticals, advanced materials, fibre optics, semiconductors and scientific products could one day be produced in microgravity before being safely returned to Earth inside specialised capsules. Southern Launch is already preparing for additional future missions. The company has agreements in place with many more VARTA capsule returns in coming years, while also continuing discussions with international rocket manufacturers seeking launch access from Australia. Future orbital launches from Whalers Way are expected to involve partner companies rather than Southern Launch-built rockets, reinforcing the company's role as Australia's gateway for commercial space operations. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show on Southern Launch, great Aussie startup company, and perhaps the future of Australian space industry. If you've got anything you'd like to add, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next show. Bye for now.